Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu comes from Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and it began in the early 20th century when a Japanese immigrant named Mitsuyo Maeda met a Brazilian named Carlos Gracie and taught him Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. Carlos then reworked what Maeda taught into something that would suit any body type, and thus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was born. In the following video, we will go over some basic concepts of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
This is the guard. My legs are closed around my opponent's hips, while my hands are free to defend or set up attacks. The primary function of the guard is to have the fight take place on the ground, while managing to be as defensive and offensive as possible. My legs control my opponent's hips and posture, while my hands can cup the arms to block strikes or the neck to defend headbutts. I can also set up attacks or sweep my opponent onto their back. The first attack we will cover is the armbar, where the elbow joint is hyperextended and the opponent's ability to fight thereafter is significantly reduced. First, we control the opponent's wrists. We release one of the grips to reach across to the opposite tricep and pull their arm to the center of our stomach. From there, we open our guard and put a foot on their hip. That foot will push our head all the way until we are perpendicular to our opponent. We bring the foot on the hip over our opponent's head and bite down with our calves. Then we squeeze our knees together to keep everything in place. We pull the wrist to our chest and bring our hips off the floor, hyperextending our opponent's elbow. The next attack is called the triangle choke. It is called that because the space between your legs makes a triangle, which cuts off the blood flow to your opponent's head and renders them unconscious. We start with the same wrist control, and then we open our guard and bring both feet to our opponent's hips. With our wrist grips, we choose a side and stretch one of the opponent's arms towards our face while forcing the other hand toward their own stomach. Now, whichever arm is near our face, that same side's foot on the hip will elevate our leg up and over the opponent's back, biting down as we come back down. From there, our hip foot will close the triangle by putting the ankle of the foot over the back behind the hip foot's knee. We finish the choke by trying to line our knees up, not by biting down with our heels, as people often do. Finally, we can protect ourselves from being slammed by hooking our arm under the opponent's knee. It obviously makes it very difficult for them to stand up.